Hi, my name's Irrelevant, and one of my more popular videos is a poorly filmed epic about me changing out the drivers in one of my crate cabs. Today I'm up to it again. I've unloaded my Marshall and crate cab, I got all my drivers out, because today I'm going to be tinkering with these vintage Traynor cabs. Now we're going to go ahead and start off with this 412, get that out of the way, because the more interesting material is going to be when I work on that 212. This, I believe, is late 70s or probably early mid-80s Traynor. It was a solid state era from them, and I guess when they started to become less popular, because gear from this era is rare. I have only ever seen one cab like this, and there's not much mention of it. It was a fixed 8 ohm with a single input, and unfortunately, I blew the drivers in this thing a long time ago because it didn't have the highest wattage rating. As you saw, it had a sealed back. It would have been front loaded. And this thing was pretty well built. It features T-nuts, so you're not screwing right into the wood. I added impedance selection circuitry. And one thing that made this cabinet special was the fact that this thing is full 3/4 inch plywooded construction. And like the good plywood, as far as cabs go, this is overbuilt. Yet, it's a bit undersized. As you can see, it's actually a little bit smaller than your bog standard Marshall cab. It's probably about an inch narrower at the base, but then I guess wider at the top. As you can see, it's clearly shorter. And width-wise, we got about 27.5 inches compared to the Marshall's 30. Now this was actually my first 412 cab, and I held on to it because it was a bit of a rarity and so well built. I haven't been really using it much in the last few years because, well, I had nicer, better cabs. And one of my plans for it was when I got new drivers for the better cabs, I was gonna throw my Celestion G12L35s in here. And that's part of what we're doing today. I've always been curious how those G12Ls would sound in this cabinet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Everything on the back's flush mounted, I can layer right down. I still have the original wires for it. I gotta remember how this wires up. I need to check the condition of these wires because I vaguely remember some of the clips were broken on them. These ones all look healthy, but I am definitely short one, and they're not all the same length. Well, we'll go ketchup and mustard. Those are the same length for one side. Oh, here's some I made up. Okay, good. We're gonna be able to manage just fine. Let us refer to some documentation here, sir. Well, I gotta start off by making 2 8 ohm sets, right? That means these guys in series, because they're 4 ohm drivers. That's gonna be one link between them. So that would actually just be, I wouldn't need as many cables. Yeah, right. I'm gonna grab negative from the switch here. Ugh, I didn't make these leads very long, did I? Let us put this clip on first. Well, it's a good connection anyway. Now, here's hoping these screws fit right in there. Don't have to be quite as careful when you're torquing down front loaded because it can go right against the back of the basket. It's when you're back loading them that you can you're more likely to warp the basket. Oh, that'll do nicely. Next. So the red wire is on the positive of that speaker, so it's gotta go onto the negative of this one. Then on the positive of this one, it's gonna be the main input. Couple ugga-duggas and we're good. Okay, let's keep it going. All right, and on this other side, negative from the switch. Oh, yellow's gonna be passed through. Get her in there. Wait, I'm talking about the wiring of these, but I'm not being very specific, am I? And this was a bit oddball because those are 4 ohm speakers, so they have to wire a bit differently than a typical cab. Front-loaded T-nuts is super easy to work with though. All right, one more. And the pass-through goes onto the positive of this speaker, and from the main input is the negative. Feels a bit loose. Hopefully that's not a problem. Actually, that could be a problem. If you have a loose connector and it shorts out, loses connection for a split second, it could probably send a surge of power to the other speakers that damages them. Gonna go ahead and just kind of snug up on this just a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna put one screw in here for now because before I want to test on it first, right? Do the little tappy, 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 tappy. Make sure they're all jumping forward. This one's jumping backwards. I got it wrong. What happens if I flick the switch? That's funny. I got phasing wrong on one speaker. No problemo. We'll just sneak our hands in there and switch those connectors around. Oh, this connector broke on me. That's no good. They're a bit worn out. All right, we got others though. And I forgot which connector I took off which phase of this speaker. This time I'm pretty confident we got this right, so let's just hammer them home. All right, now let's check on her. Yeah, they're all going forward. Let's flick the switch. Yep. The impedance selection is important to me because my crate head doesn't support 4 ohm and my Marshall head doesn't support 16 ohm. And 412 cabs are usually 4 or 16 ohms, unless they're 8. But that's only, you know, they're not selectable if they're 8. I just want to figure out which impedance is which selection. This appears to be the 16 ohm and that's the 4 ohm. So there we go. I need to label that. All right, this guy's pretty much ready to fire up now. I gotta dig out all this now. All right, of course I'm using my crate head for reference, and actually it's part of the intention because of all my amps. These speakers actually sound good with the crate. If you care, first stage is a JJ ECC 803 MG. Then I have the 803, the 803 Tungsol phase inverter, and 2 JJ KT88s. This is Alder with a Duncan Custom. So we got some of what I expected and some pleasant surprises. It has a warm tone coming off this. I think it's accommodating low volumes really well. It's at really low volumes right now, like bedroom volume levels. And that's what I've always liked about these Celestion speakers and why I kept them around. They sound good at low volumes. The other speakers, all these Eminence I have, as good as they are, they have a lot of mid, bite, and presence to them, which, you know, sounds great once you've turned the amp up a bit, but at lower volumes, it's kind of just too much crunch, not an even enough sound. The G12L35s, I find they have a very even, flat response, and they also have a dull sensitivity. They're not a high sensitivity driver. It takes more power to get the volume up there in them, so you can turn up your amp a little bit more, and it makes it a lot less touchier when you're trying to dial in a lower volume. You know, contrary to popular belief, big doesn't mean loud. I've jammed at bedroom volumes with 412 stacks for a very long time. Even back in the days living with my parents. I could be playing in the middle of the night and not waking them up, but nevertheless, having that even distribution across 4 drivers kind of makes for a smoother tone at low volumes. That and the natural resonance kind of fills out the low end without having to actually turn it up. So, talking about turn it up, I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more to see what we get. Yeah, no complaints. These aren't the first driver I would pick if I was actually jamming or playing live. They don't have enough presence. They don't have enough power. But jamming alone, maybe even for recording purposes, they're kind of good. Actually, these are the drivers I'm using when I recorded my intro for this channel. Let's go even a little bit more and see what happens. But wait, 35, 35, 70. This is a 140 watt cab. And I maybe have 80 to 120 watts of tube in there, so well, it should be okay. Oh, Tay, I'm raining dust from the drop ceiling, bud. I'm gonna want a kibosh on that. But I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I think this is the first time in history I've heard this cab with a good driver in it before. Since about the time I blew the drivers in this thing, I don't know, I haven't taken this cab seriously in a very, 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 very long time. I don't know that I had the crate when I last used it. I can't remember, but it is tight. The low end doesn't woof at all. Between the smaller size and the heavier duty construction, it's staying like punchy. It's got that effect where without getting all I feel the pant legs jiggling, just kind of I like this. I like this. This is a great cab for just jamming out at home. And that's kind of why I held on to it. Bedroom volumes right now, like low bedroom volume. Yeah, these speakers sound great at low volumes. So I'm gonna move on now to the feature presentation. That 212 cab, there's a possibility I'm making it a separate video, just in case.